Wants to try and take you. What's up, everybody? Dark Knight 316, Robert Ruler Gaming, and this is the Tackles and Takedown podcast, episode 19, week 18. So this is the final week for football, so it's going to be real interesting for the picks that we get, and the teams that will pretty much try to screw over the teams that are in the playoffs just so that they screw them over for it. And there's been a bunch of those last week in the games where the teams that were like 4 and whatever are screwing over the teams that need the win to be number 1 and all that. So, your first one. This is interesting that it's a Saturday game. The last week of the season is Saturday games. So, on this one here, your Panthers and your Bucks. Who are you getting on this one?
I think the Panthers take this.
Think Panthers are going to take this one?
I think so. I think Panthers take this. Bucks get rid of Todd Bowles as their head coach. Todd Bowles mentioned, he said they got to play better at quarterback. I think they got to do better coaching. I mean, this team's been injured all season, and I don't think he's done a good job. Considering the fact that they were leading the division for the longest time, and now they're not. So I think Panthers win the division. And Todd Bowles leaves as the head coach of the Bucks.
Yeah. What about your Seahawks 49ers?
I got the 49ers. I think Brock Purdy's playing out of his mind right now, out of this world. He's doing super good. So I think he wins this.
Yeah, so those are the last 2 Saturday games, and then the rest are all Sunday games. There's no Monday game. It's all just Sunday and Saturday. So, first Sunday games, the Aints versus the Falcons.
That's what I think is interesting. I don't think I'm choosing the Falcons to win this, but I don't think the Falcons can even if they all go 8-9. I don't think the Falcons can win the division at all based off of record.
Mm-hmm. We'll take a look at that.
But
after
it would be interesting though to see the Falcons win. Who I'm picking to win the division. Mm-hmm. It would be interesting, but I don't think it will.
All right, so next games are the Browns versus the Bengals.
I'm going to make a prediction here. Browns win this. Myles Garrett gets 2 sacks and breaks the record. He sacks Joe Burrow. If Joe Burrow's playing twice, they win the record.
Okay. Next, Colts-Texans.
Texans take this. I think this is opportunity for them to win the division. So Texans have to play. Remember, the Texans were like doing super bad, and then now all of a sudden they picked it up and are doing great. Yep. The defense came up.
11-5.
C.J. Stroud started coming back and playing well, and the Colts were leading the division for the longest time. Had injuries and left. I do see the Colts head coach leaving as well, because to consider the fact that you made a trade for Sauce Gardner and you're not doing so high, and you had a team leading the division, number 1, and they're at 500. I don't see you sticking around much longer.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of coaches that'll probably lose their job this season.
We can go over it if you want. I can tell you the ones who I think will probably.
Yeah, we can go over that after this.
Stay or go.
So, obviously, you're probably picking your Titans over the Jaguars.
That's where the upset's going to be.
You think it's going to be a big upset for that one? I think
Titans beat the Jags. Texans win the division because of the Titans. And then the Texans send... The Texans act like that's their Super Bowl. They send the Titans, all luxury vehicles for winning. And they end up...
Yeah, they pay them all that money.
All that
hit money.
And then they lose in the first round of playoffs. But
All
that's
right.
another
So
story.
the next one, Packers, Vikings.
I think Vikings win this. As much as I like Malik Willis, who will probably start, I think the Vikings take it just because Packers haven't played, especially you're 9-6-1.
Mm-hmm.
Like you should be higher for how great of a team you have. They have some holes that they need to fix. I think Packers lose this.
Vikings win it. Okay, so next one is the Cowboys, Giants.
This one I think Cowboys win. I think they get to 500. I think it's actually a pretty decent season for Schottenheimer.
You think the coach goes away too?
No, Cowboys coach. This is his first season with the team. I think he's done a good job considering the fact that they're like at 500 or close to 500. I think he's done a good job, and I think that's where he stays. I think this team improves next year.
What about the Giants?
Giants, their head coach is already gone, but I think they have to find the right head coach to get Jackson Dart to the next level. Kind of like what Vrabel did with Drake May. I think they need to find a coach like that to do it for the Giants.
Yeah. All right, next team, Jets, Bills.
Bills win this.
All right. Lions, Bears.
Well, that's a tough one, but I think Bears squeak it out.
You think the Bears squeak it
by
out?
like a field goal. I think it's a tough one because the Lions don't have anything to play for now. Since it's a disappointing season for the Lions, though, considering what they won like 15 games last season, and for them to 8. But it's also one of those that they lost both their coordinators, so I think it's a little bit tougher when you have to learn a new offense, learn a new defense, like things like that. I think it gets a little bit tougher. So.
All right, so next one, this is a tough one here. Chargers, Broncos.
I'm going Broncos. I believe Herbert isn't going to be playing. I don't know the status of his injury, but I think the Broncos take it. They probably play Bo Nix like a half and then take him out, and then
just to keep them
healthy. To keep him healthy.
Yeah, so that then they can play him in the playoffs.
I think so.
All right, Cardinals, Rams.
I got Rams. Rams winning this.
Okay. Chefs, Raiders. Do you think Raiders will beat the Chefs?
You know what,
now that Mahomes not there?
You know, this is going to be interesting because do the Raiders tank? I think the Chiefs win this because the Raiders will probably tank because they want the first round pick overall.
Oh, so you think that they're doing it purposely?
They're not gonna play well enough to be able to. And what's gonna end up happening? I mean, Raiders are gonna pick a quarterback next year, and they're gonna have
get rid of Geno.
Geno's gonna be gone, but they're gonna get like whoever the hot rookie is going into next year's draft. They're gonna pick them because if you look, we'll look at the standings after, but I believe it's Raiders. You have Jets, and then you have your Browns and Giants up there. So like the Titans are like 5th because they keep winning.
Yeah.
But I think Chiefs win this. Chiefs actually were playing pretty good last week without Mahomes. So I think.
All right, next one, Dolphins, Patriots.
Patriots take this. I think Drake May goes into another week of him playing 5 touchdowns, and what he did to the Jets, I think he does to the Dolphins as well.
Okay, so. Commanders, Eagles.
I got Eagles.
Okay.
I think Eagles take this, and they win the division. So.
All right, and then the Sunday night game, the Ravens, Steelers. Now, this is a tough one
This is a tough one because last week Derrick Henry was playing well.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know the status of Lamar Jackson off the top of my head, but I believe the Steelers pulled this one out. They beat the Ravens. And Steelers automatically will have a winning record regardless. But I think the Steelers pull this one out, but it's going to be a tough fight. I think it's going to be a tough fight for the Steelers to win this division going in. And I think I predicted this that they were going to like it was going to be like a battle for the division.
Yeah, you did say that.
But the Steelers, I think, I think they get this one by like a field goal as well, kind of. It's going to be under a touchdown game because they have to stop Derrick Henry, but I think also they're going to.
Did Derrick Henry reach his 1,000 yards already?
Yeah, he's already done great. We could check it out after, but like he had he had, I think it was last week. Did he have over 200 yards? Like, he had a really good game last week.
Yeah, he did really well.
If we want to check...
Let's look at the standings.
If we could look at the standings.
Yeah.
Do you want playoff picture or standings?
The playoff picture, then.
Let's see if they got playoff picture.
They should.
Because, sometimes...
Yeah, I know.
So, as we see here, Broncos, Seahawks.
Mm-hmm.
I actually can see this changing. If the 49ers win, I think 49ers take this.
They go way up there?
49ers go 13.
They'll drop it up, move up all the way to number one?
They would be number one.
Dang, that would be crazy. I believe
they would because of games against the Seahawks.
Mm-hmm.
So that's if the Seahawks lose.
Yeah.
And so the Seahawks play the 49ers. So
yeah.
I think this is battle for number one for them. But I think we see it set here. I think the Broncos beat the Chargers. Patriots beat Miami 1-2. So it's like how we see it.
Mm-hmm.
Jags, I think they get bumped to the 5th seed. Because
I
got the Texans over. Since they win, I got the Texans taking over. Chargers, Bills, I think they sit where they're at with the winning record. In the hunt are these two teams. We know this is division. So
they have the Rams 6. So has a 6 team ever go on to win a Super Bowl?
I believe they have. There's been, I would want to say it was the Giants.
That was the 6
that
seed
was like a wild card, low one of these lower seeds. I don't think anybody's ever won from the 7 seed since they've done this format, but I believe a 6 seed has won it.
Yeah, so the reason I say that is because I saw online that ChatGPT, somebody had them predict the next 50 Super Bowl champions. And so, according to ChatGPT, the one that will win this year's Super Bowl is supposed to be the Rams.
Mm-hmm.
And so, that's why I was asking you if a 6 seed would ever go on in the playoffs and win.
Yeah, but think about it this way, though. So, if everything stood the way it was, we're looking at playoffs now. 2 seed goes up against 7. So, Bears, Packers. You'll have the Eagles against the Rams. So that, I mean, the Rams have to go through the Eagles to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
You have to beat the former Super Bowl champs in order to go for the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
And then 4 and 5, whoever wins that division faces the 49ers. Mm-hmm. So that's where I think it's going to be tough because the Rams, I mean, the Eagles haven't looked like a Super Bowl team, but I think it's a little bit tougher because you got to think playoffs. Who has the most experience in the playoffs here? The Eagles won it last year. They're going to come back in form. 49ers got healthy. They're looking good. I don't see the Packers doing much because the Packers haven't been looking good. Mm-hmm. The Rams, they got their teeth knocked in. So it's one of those, like the Bears are one of those surprise teams. I don't think they're going to do much. And same with the Seahawks. Like they're surprise teams that making it really their first year. So you got to kind of look at playoff experience and who would win. A lot of these guys will be like Sam Darnold, Caleb Williams, first years. Like it's kind of hard to bet against the Eagles, whereas Brock Purdy has been in the playoffs, been to a Super Bowl, things like that.
Same with the Rams.
The Rams have,
and they lost to the Patriots too. I mean, it would be cool if it's a return match between the Patriots and the Rams.
They beat the Bengals as well, but I think you got to look at it as like especially playoff positioning. Who they're going to be able to face. If they go with the Eagles, it's going to be a tough game for the Rams to make it.
Yeah.
So that's where I think.
But I mean, ChatGPT says that they go all the way. ChatGPT also says in 2033 the Titans will win their first Super Bowl.
I trust ChatGPT
for that one,
do it.
but not for 2025.
Nah, but you see, the Rams could also they'd go 12-5. They could not win. They can't win a number 1 seed, but they could position themselves. Yeah, see, so they would technically, they could win a 5 seed if, like, the 49ers or Seahawks lose, however positioning is, they could probably bump to the 5 seed, but they wouldn't win the division.
Who?
For the Rams.
For the Rams?
Because the way that it plays out, so if the 49ers did bump the Seahawks and they took the number 1 seed, they can only win, like, a 5 seed. So these two could flip-flop if something were to happen there. So that's what you're kind of looking at there. And then when you're looking in the West here...
So you're saying the Seahawks could go to number 5.
They could.
And the 49ers will go to number 1?
Yeah, so...
Because since they're facing each other,
so if they face each other, they go 13-4, 13-4. 49ers could
take it up there.
Take it here.
Then they go down to
and
they
go down to 5 or 6, depending on if the Rams win. And it all matters.
So
like
the
conference matchup.
So the
and things like
record doesn't matter. It's the conferences.
So the record does matter when you're looking at positioning. So
because you said if the 49ers make it, they'll be 13-4.
yeah.
But why would the Seahawks drop down there? Because the Bears would be
Because
if the Bears win, they would be 12-5. 13-3 is still higher than 12-5.
Because you got to remember it's division. The Seahawks, 49ers, Rams play all in the same division. So these guys are division winners. So 2, 3, and 4 are gonna automatically get those seedings because they won the division. Seahawks, 49ers, and Rams are battling out in the AFC West. So that's why you see second and third. So that's why I'm saying.
So there's no fourth right now.
AFC West, that would be the Cardinals.
No, because there's no 4 on
Four would be because
whoever
of the
these
Panthers and Bucks. So
Yeah.
they're battling it out. Whoever wins basically is in. But I think the Panthers, like I said, win it. So you would see the Panthers are going to face whoever's the 5 seed, which is going to be tough for them. I mean, they have the potential of an upset, but I think
Yeah, it looks like that the NFC this year is a tougher one than the AFC
Well,
because
I don't know.
because the AFC, I mean, you have only a few of the good hitters. Like you got like the Patriots and the Broncos, and you had the Bills.
Mm-hmm.
So those are only really like the top ones, and you can see where they're all lying at. But you look at the NFC, you got like all the ones up there. You got the former Super Bowl champions Eagles.
Mm-hmm.
You got the 49ers. You got the Rams. And then now the surprise ones are the Seahawks and the Bears.
Yeah.
So like that one to me would be more interesting to see who, like if there's going to be tons of upsets or if it's going to be like the usual, like it was for all those years with the Patriots, where you're like, oh, if the Patriots make it in the playoffs, they're already going to go to the Super Bowl.
But here's what
Whereas
makes it tough.
the NFC, like right now, you can't really.
Here's what makes it tough in the
determine.
AFC West, though. There's no Kansas City, so this is wide open for whoever wins. So these two still have a spot depending on whoever wins. Basically, it would stay the same. So if both of them win, it stays the same. But Patriots could take the number 1 seed. Technically, a lot of these guys, if both these teams lose, like number 1 seed's up for grab right now because the way that it is. But if we're saying if the playoffs were today and it stands how it is, the Patriots are going to play the Bills again, and that's going to be a tough one because they lost to the Bills, and they've also beat the Bills. Bills are a playoff ready team compared to the Patriots, who this will be their first time in the playoffs in like 4 years. So it's a little bit tougher there. Whereas you got to look at like Jags Texans have been to the playoffs in the past. They have playoff experience, which I believe the Jags a few years ago came back and came down like 20 down and beat the Chargers in the playoffs in the first round. So if these two face, that's going to be an interesting battle again to see kind of these two teams play. And then whoever wins between the Steelers, Ravens would play the Texans if it stands today.
So if the Ravens win, then they're in it?
They're the number 4 seed. They get I think they still get a home game. I don't remember if they changed up based off record. Like you win the division, but your record, so you don't. But I think they still get a home game. So it would be interesting to see the Ravens in there. But the way that stands, I think AFC's up for grabs.
Because it would be weird to not see the Ravens make it to the playoffs because they've been in the playoffs like for the longest time and they've even won a Super Bowl, you know.
But it's weird to see the AFC North this bad because they have like really good players in the AFC North.
I mean, same with the NFC, like seeing that the Bucks like are not even in the playoffs
and
right
you
now.
gotta think like the Bucks were a top team going on in the beginning
Especially
of the
when they
season
had
and just
Brady.
losing.
When they had Brady on there, I mean, they won the Super Bowl with it, and then they just dropped.
And
after
that comes down to coaching too, because I think I don't think Todd Bowles is a good coach. I think he got lucky and inherited a great team, but like his coaching record, you can see right now 7-9 isn't cutting it. And I mean, he's been with the team like 4 or 5 years now.
Yeah,
I don't think he's the coach to lead the Bucks. If ChatGPT is saying that they're gonna lead them to a championship, yeah, I don't think he's for the Bucks. But if we want to look at just
let's look at the
standings all together.
Yeah, so we can look at the so you can pick your coaches that are going to get fired.
So if we look at each of these, I would look at this: New England, stays. Buffalo stays. Miami Dolphins, it's a little bit tough because they have turned around the season, but Tua hasn't played well.
Mm-hmm.
So
do you think Tua will go and they'll keep the coach, or is it going to switch?
Now, this is the interesting thing. I was reading reports, they were saying that it could be possible that Tua leaves, it goes to the Cardinals, and they make a trade kind of there for Kyler Murray for Tua. That would be an interesting thing.
That would, but that would also be weird, though, because then if, like, Tua turns around the Cardinals and Kyler Murray doesn't do so hot for the Dolphins, because, like, why would you want Kyler over anybody else?
Because Tua in the last couple of years hasn't been playing well, and the only problem, though, is because they signed him to a big contract.
Yeah.
So trading him, at least you could get, like, Kyler Murray, and maybe it would offset. But I think this is where what they need to do is they need to start doing like what the Dodgers do in the NFL, kind of back pay you years later, so you have some flexibility if you ever need to trade a player like that. But I think Miami, I think the coach is safe there. I can't think of his name. Mike somebody. I can't think of his name. Anyhow, the Jets, I think the Jets are safe with Aaron Glenn. I think it's the first season they're going to give him another shot. I think they're going to give him like the Brian Callahan treatment. Their team sucked this year. Let's see how they do next year. They'll fire him midway. So.
Well, they didn't do that with Gerard Mayo for the Patriots. They got rid of his ass once they knew Vrabel was free.
Pittsburgh, I think Mike Tomlin stays, even if they don't make it.
You think he stays?
I think he stays.
Because there's rumors that they're going to get rid of him.
No, because you know what? It honestly, it doesn't make sense. The only way that I think Mike Tomlin leaves is if he steps away. Yeah. Because it doesn't make sense that you would get rid of such a great coach like Mike Tomlin. And I know he hasn't won a playoff game in like 10 years, but you got to think, like, he hasn't had a losing season ever. So you want a coach who's either, again, Brian Callahan, who has lost, like, who are you going to replace Pittsburgh with? You're going to have a bunch of losing seasons. Whereas at least Mike Tomlin, what you got to start doing is you got to start building around him. And especially, too, if Aaron Rodgers is gone, you got guys like Kirk Cousins is available. Maybe Will Levis comes back as healthy. You can trade for a lower like tier quarterback like a Will Levis because he's not going to be able to play. Maybe get a veteran guy. A Joe Flacco comes through. You want him, so you never know. But I think Pittsburgh, Tomlin's good there. I think Harbaugh's good here. Cincinnati, trying to think of who's Cincinnati's head coach. I think he's safe there. I can't think of his name. And then Cleveland as well. I think Cleveland's safe with Stefanski.
You think Shador will stay?
I think.
Or do you think that they're going to trade him?
Well, I think the problem is because I think he stays because he's the better quarterback.
Yeah, he is.
But the thing is, those like decisions when they got Deshaun Watson, I don't think you even play Deshaun Watson. You let him collect his $125 million or whatever he made. Let him sit as a backup, a third stringer, and unless you're going to release him and want to take that hit, like that would be an option. But I think you get Shador Sanders, you build around him, get a good team, and you start winning this division and winning a Super Bowl. I truly believe that Shador Sanders is probably going to be your better quarterback versus Dylan Gabriel.
Yeah.
As well as, because I mean, the one thing too is like, you have a great defense, a terrible offensive line. So you need to build an offensive line to be able to hold. So if the play does break down, he can at least, if he needs to scramble. But you need to get him guys he can go quick, 3 to 5 seconds, and he's getting that ball out real quick. And I think that's where Shador Sanders' game, where he looks good. Whereas if he's holding the ball for a long time and he has to run around and do all that, he's not going to look good. So I think that's where you have to play to his skill set. Because even in college, you looked at that, like, he sat in a pocket a lot and broke down. Like, you can start also helping him improve how to read defenses from the pocket, because you should expect him not to be running around sideline to sideline.
Yeah, but see, like you were saying before, is NFL's not like that anymore. Yeah. They want the scrambling quarterbacks, and so Shador Sanders not built that way. And so that's going to be the problem with Cleveland. Is that they're going to expect him to be a scrambling quarterback, and that's where he's going to suffer.
And that's going to be a downfall. But if you look at guys like Lamar Jackson, injured.
That's what I'm saying. All scrambling quarterbacks
look
get hurt.
Mahomes right now, injured. Jalen Hurts at one point was
You had Allen too.
Yeah, so
Allen
Jared
got
Allen
hurt.
at one point.
That's what I'm saying. If you're a pocket quarterback, that's why you saw the longevity of Tom Brady, the longevity of Eli Manning and Peyton Manning.
That's why I worry for like
Roethlisberger,
because Drake May had a good season, but he also has like 400 yards rushing. I'm like, I think you escape the pocket when there's nothing there. Not just like your first option is, oh, can't get out in 3 seconds because I'm running.
Yeah,
like
that's what I'm saying.
Offensive line do their job.
They need to bring back the pocket and keep it in the pocket.
And I think you're slowly
Shedeur Sanders could be the catalyst that brings back those pocket quarterbacks and make it where it's all good. Because they just got to build it around.
You also got to think for the team, like if you want a healthy quarterback, stop having them run.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Then they're going to be worth their 5-year, $100 million, whatever they sign. And I think Shedeur Sanders, I don't think he's going to be like the next $400 million quarterback, but I think he's going to be good enough to where like Cleveland's no longer going to be 4-12. If you can build their free agency in the draft, get him a good left tackle maybe in the draft who's just this, bulk dude who can run, hold the offense, hold the defense, and just smash mouth game play like when you had Joe Thomas, like somebody like that, hold him down. Shedeur Sanders, like he can take the ball every time, but like I ain't worried about that dude because he's gonna never miss his block. So I think that's what you need to do.
Because I see Shedeur Sanders more like Roethlisberger. Where it's like Roethlisberger was basically like too fat to really run, so he wasn't really like a scrambling quarterback. He was always the pocket one. But when he had to, he did it.
Yeah.
But he stayed in the pocket and was able to pick off the defense. I think it's
also
like
Shedeur Sanders though has to in the off season, like improve his game.
Yeah.
Like it has to be a commitment where he's throwing the ball every time. He's getting like whoever
he's doing the reads,
his receivers there. Yeah. Like he's getting there everything, and I think his dad does that for him. I think that's where it's going to be like that. Yeah, you have that flashy kind of like that attitude, and people don't like that. But I think if he starts to do that, but then he's on the field like, look, I'm making every play. I'm doing this. Like I'm playing. If he has that Drake May moment in the second season, I think he shuts up the haters.
He has to have the momentum. And the drive to want to improve.
I think he does.
Because Tom Brady had that one where they said a lot of the people on the Patriots and when he went over to the Bucks like that, a lot of them like didn't like his play style because it would be like on off season instead of like most players would go like to their family or go like to the club and all that. Tom Brady hires a coach to help him improve his throwing game, and then he'd ask players on the team like, "Hey, do you want to do some sparring moments?" And like the ones that came were the ones that improved and made it better for the Patriots. The ones that didn't were the ones that were sitting on the sidelines and only got a championship because of Tom Brady.
Yeah.
So you have to have that drive of yes, I need to improve every year because just because I may have won the Super Bowl or whatever, there doesn't mean that I'm still going.
And we gotta think though, like talking is, of course Tom Brady's the GOAT.
Yes.
But you also got to think the way his game was. Like, he sat in that pocket. Sometimes you had those defenders, like, surrounding you. And he's still sitting there trying to get the ball where it needs to go. Like, he wasn't like, okay, he could be in the pocket for 5 to 10 seconds looking to where it's at. Instead of being like, play broke down, all right, I'm running. Because we all know he couldn't run.
Yeah.
But he would make the QB sneeze.
And he couldn't catch. Because in the one Super Bowl where
we know
he missed
dropped it.
Yeah.
But, like, things like that. So that's what I'm looking at. But
that's what I'm hoping. So,
Jacksonville, head coach stays.
Yeah.
Houston
stays.
I think Indy is where they get rid of Shane Shechem. I think is his name. They get rid of him. I think they find a new head coach going into next season. Tennessee, of course, they're going to get their new head coach. I have actually a prediction of who I think Tennessee gets.
Who do you think?
But I don't think they're going to do it. Mike McCarthy. I think Mike McCarthy, if they want to win a Super Bowl, they get Mike McCarthy.
Who's he from right now?
He used to coach Dallas, and then Dallas got rid of him because they had one bad season. And then he kind of stepped away for a year, kind of like what the coaches do, to see what opens up. I think if he wants to win a championship, he goes to Tennessee. And only reason why is because in Green Bay, he coached... I think he had Brett Favre for a little bit, but he coached Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers turned into who he was. Went to Dallas, coached Dak Prescott, and Dak Prescott became really good. So he's a really good quarterback coach. And I think that's what you need to do with Tennessee. You need to get a guy who is established and who's a quarterback coach. And I think that's where Mike McCarthy goes. I think you give him a 5-year whatever deal. It's kind of like what we'll see next with Denver. Like you got Sean Payton in Denver. He had like one bad season because he's turning that team around.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, look what he's done. And I think that's what you're going to have with Mike McCarthy.
Yeah,
you got to give him like a year and a half.
The
2
thing
years.
with Tennessee, though, that I think Vrabel talked about is that Tennessee, like, doesn't want their head coach to take control of everything. They want each person, like their offensive coordinator, be the one that makes the decisions and stuff like that. And Mike Vrabel was like, I want to have control of who I sign on, who's the head like the coaches, who's these players and stuff like that. Tennessee didn't want them to do it. That's why they were clashing. And that's why he said he was frustrated when he was in Tennessee.
That guy, their former GM Ron Carthon or somebody like that, like they clash there. But I agree with that, because how does the GM say, like, I want to sign this wide receiver, and you're like, that wide receiver doesn't play in my scheme. So he may be big name, but he doesn't fit with what we're looking for. So why would I sign him to a 5-year deal?
Why would you get rid of Derrick Henry? Mm-hmm. I mean, he was your best running back.
Why would you get rid of A.J. Brown? Yeah. And then you get Treylon Burks, who was terrible.
And you see A.J. Brown won a Super Bowl with the Eagles. And you see that what's his face is doing good for the Ravens. And he's breaking records.
And you got to think,
like,
too,
you saw that.
like, decisions that they made, was it Mike Vrabel's decision? I don't know. Like, why did you sign Tannehill to a max contract after he had like one good season? You signed him to this max contract. Yeah. What you started doing was maxing out these guys, and then you have no more money for anything else. And I know a lot of the teams too, like they like to do these cost saving things where they're like, "Oh, we want like 60 million." Like that's what the Patriots did. And then Vrabel came in there and was like, if you want to win, I got to spend money. Like, look at all these free agents.
That's why Vrabel said, he said Tennessee didn't want to spend it because they said that they were spending all that money on the new stadium, that they don't want to spend money building a team.
You start right
because
now.
They figure, when we get a new stadium, we'll have the more drive of like, we want to win a championship in our new stadium and stuff like that.
I think with Tennessee, what you have to do is you have to get some playmakers like receivers, tight ends through free agency. I think you have to continue to build that offensive line because the offensive line has not been as good, and you want to keep Cam Ward 10, 15 years. So I don't like Cam Ward as a Titans fan. I don't think he's as good. But if he's going to be our franchise quarterback, you need to build that offensive line. You need to invest, get a good left tackle. Our current left tackle, J.C. Latham, move him over to right. Our left guard, Peter Skorsky, whatever his name is, he's good. He just needs to stay healthy. Keep him there. Get a good, like I said, a physical, tough, in your face left tackle like we had with Taylor Lewan when he was there. Kind of that. Get a good center. Like start signing some of these guys through free agency. Fix that offensive line so Cam Ward has enough time. And our defense is good. We just need to pick up a little bit more pieces to be able to we need a corner and some more pass rushers to be able to get to the quarter. Jeffrey Simmons can't do it all, so you need to take off the pressure. You need to get guys that free up Jeffrey Simmons so he can have 10 sack games. So they'll get new here, and then I think in the AFC West they all keep their head coaches. I don't think
You don't think Reed will leave from Kansas City?
No, I think he coaches. Said he was committed to coach next season if they want him back.
Yeah, if they want him back, but I don't know. Does Kansas City want him back?
It doesn't make sense now. You had one bad season from the Super Bowl. What it is, it's the GM decision making. It's like when you're paying $400 million for Mahomes, when you're paying like Chris Jones, over $100 million, then you got to start putting the pieces. Like when you're over the cap because you're paying these guys $50 million, and let's say your cap's only $180, like they're taking a third of your cap room. That's the issue you're running into. And so I predicted this a couple of years ago. I was saying Kansas City's going to start to take a step back because your money is is stuck on these guys who are going to be
when
there.
You do like those max contracts or those
max
like
contract for 5 years,
crazy ass ones.
And like I forget what Chris Jones signed. I think it was like, let's say it was $100 million. I don't remember, but you got to say let's just say that he's taking 25 million a year, and then Mahomes is taking 30. Let's say 35 million a year. So you're already at like 60 million for your payroll for this year. And if your payroll is 180, that's already 1/3, which means you got to start signing on. If you sign on Travis Kelce, he had a max contract. Like, some of these guys aren't playing on $3 million, $4 million contracts. You're going to start getting these journeymen because you're paying majority of your salary to the 3-4 top guys.
Well, they're going to free up a lot of cap because Kelsey's supposedly retiring this season. So they'll get that money back from Kelce.
And Kansas City with cap room issues is the reason why they're here.
Yeah.
I mean, because you got to think, like, they could have built an offensive line.
Yeah.
They traded Joe Tooney to
They could have got a
Bears.
backup from Mahomes, so when he gets hurt, that this backup guy is good enough to go take the team. They got Gardner
Minshew, but because they're financially strapped, because of the decisions they made is the reason why you see this here. And especially, too, coaching's got better in the AFC West, especially with the Broncos and the Chargers. The coaching's gotten better. But I don't see Pete Carroll, they letting go of Pete Carroll because they committed to him. But I can see Pete Carroll stepping away because of his age. Because he's in his 70s, I believe.
Yeah.
So I think they can see, he can be like, this was a stressful season, I'm going to step away because I'm too old.
Well,
so something like
that.
Yeah,
if you look at the loss record with Kansas City, they're on a 5-game losing streak.
Yep.
It's still not as bad as the Raiders being a 10-game losing streak. But, like you said, like with the Raiders, I could see them getting rid of Pete Carroll because of his age. Maybe they're thinking, like,
I think they hope he steps back.
Like, he's too old to really coach, but they wanted him because he's a big name.
He's a big name coach.
But if they do get rid of him, like, who are they going to get for, the head coach?
Who wants that position, though? Because the Raiders are such a mess that, like, they haven't been good in years. Like, nobody's made the decision to be able to get good players to come to the Raiders, free agencies or anything like that, to be able to build and say, like...
I'm gonna throw a long shot. This is going to be a long shot. That's probably not going to be real in it.
Back.
No. They go out and get Belichick. Because Belichick would have been a Raiders if whatever her name was, they actually liked Belichick, but she didn't like him. So it gave it to, what's his name?
Pete Carroll?
No, not Pete Carroll. The guy that went to the Bucks afterwards. Can't think of his name. But, anywho, it was between those two. And she didn't like him for some reason. So he went to the Patriots and then they ended up winning. So maybe be a redemption arc that he comes back and he's like, I'm going to build this Raiders team up. Tom Brady's my shareholder. So you'll have that dichotomy again with
it could,
Brady
but you got to think too, like,
and Belichick.
He's been playing terrible in college. Is he going to want to come? Because also it would make sense that could happen too, because he wants to break the regular season win record, and that is an opportunity there as Tom Brady as an owner to be able to say, yeah, we can take him in there. I don't see the.
He has a good relationship with Tom Brady.
I don't see Belichick
he didn't have a good relationship with
the Raiders.
I could see him if he tells Brady, like, hey, give me full control.
I don't.
And Brady goes...
He had full control those last years after Brady in New England, and it didn't work
No,
out.
He actually didn't. So, he had to listen to...
I think...
to the Patriots GM, because that's the guy that wanted to get rid of Brady.
I don't think he's going to be... Look at the yards here. Where I was looking at... Drake made 42, 38, 71% completion. I do not think he wins the MVP, but I think he should. But I think MVP goes to Matthew Stafford. 42-8. I think this is where your MVP's at with Matthew Stafford. I wanted to see if...
there's Cam Ward.
Oh, you saw it? Where's Cam Ward?
Right there, right here. Daniel Jones.
Cam Ward has... where's his yards? Right here. He passed for 3,000 yards, which isn't bad. And he's 15-7, which he started picking up late in the season. Because he was like 6-7 or something like that, which... I mean, this got to improve, but you also got to look. Let's see, rushing. Derrick Henry has 14
Yeah, he passed the 1,000 mark.
So
that's good.
He could possibly get another 1,500,
yeah.
but he has 16 touchdowns right now, which is incredible for.
I think he got 5 of them last game or something like that. He was dominated. They said it's because of him is the reason why they won.
But he's I think he gets. I don't think he wins the rushing title this year, but to go from like just a couple weeks ago, he was at like 900, and he picked it up, which is usually what he does. But for under 300-yard attempts, that's great for him because he normally runs over the 300. Well, he'll get probably the 300 attempts this season, but for having under 300 attempts and almost 1,500 yards is incredible. 16 touchdowns. I see him back for probably one more year. It depends too, because I think his contract is up either this year or next year. So I don't know whether or not he's gonna not sign a big
if you click on him, does it tell you how much?
I don't think
the contract left.
I don't think it will tell you. He's like 31 though, but
10 years experience. It doesn't say how long.
But I don't think
it's left.
It makes sense that if he's still playing to this high level for you to get him, but I don't see people wanting to sign him on to let's say he's 32 next year. Are they going to sign him on when he's 35, even though he's still looking good? And I think they're gonna. He needs to, if he wants to continue to break records, he needs to sign on with a team that's actually going to use him as a running back.
What if he, for his last year or two, he goes back to the Titans?
It would be good because I think it helps Cam Ward, but I don't think because you got to think the Ravens are a heavy running team, so that's why it fits them there. Tennessee's not going to be a heavy running team again this year. You got Tony Pollard just broke the 1,000-yard, and he only has 5 touchdowns. Yeah. So it would make sense, but I mean, it is what it is, right? And then if you look at receptions, McBride there, but let's see what receiving. See, I don't know if he breaks this record. He needs another, I think 150, and JSN breaks the receiving record for the season. So I don't see him doing that, but it's possible. And then you have
AJ Brown barely broke it.
But yeah, Puka Nacua, he's up there as well. Even though he's missed a couple games and he came back, still has a lot. George Pickens looked good. Jamar Chase yet again, even though their team sucked, he's still looking good there. Same with St. Brown. This is the talk. Trey McBride broke the tight end record. So he's going to look good in Arizona. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I think there. And then, of course, we have to look at defense. I wanted to look at interceptions. Is Byard still up there? Byard is still up there with 6. Who's my favorite. And then also, of course, we have to look at sacks. And you have to make that prediction. Does Myles Garrett break the sack record?
He's at 22. The record is 23?
22 and a half.
22 and a half?
22 and a half is the record.
He definitely breaks it then. If it's 22 and a half, he's at 22.
He gets 2 sacks this game. He breaks the record. I think he breaks, of course, he breaks the record with 1. Yeah. But I think he gets 2, and they celebrate, have him.
Yeah.
But Brian Burns has been off, too. Look at that, 16 and a half.
Do you think he'll get the, he'll want that ball then?
I think so.
Or when he sacks the quarterback, he's like,
10 sacks.
I want that ball. So then
I think you give it to him. If he sacks it, you give him the ball. But if he breaks the record, Myles Garrett should win MVP. I think there's no question about it. No matter how good the quarterback's done, I think it's a lot harder to get 22 sacks than it is for you to throw 3,000, 4,000 yards. So I hope Myles Garrett breaks it. And I hope it's the last game of the season he breaks it, and I hope he wins MVP. That's what I'm hoping.
I'm hoping. I mean, he should be able to at least get 1 on it, and hopefully it's not a half, but hopefully he should at least be able to get 1. 2 is kind of. I mean, it's super doable to get 2 on there, but I would just be happy if he just gets the 1 and breaks the record on there because.
I think he gets 2.
If he gets the half, that would suck if he ties the record. Yep. Where he's so close to breaking it on his own. So, yeah.
But hey, Jefferson's got 10, which I'm happy about that. It's good to see him in double-digit sacks. he gets doubled and triple teamed all the time, so he should have more. But
he finally got 10. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's been mostly double digits.
I can't get his jersey though, but
yeah,
because every time I get somebody's jersey, they leave.
How about Tuli Tuput?
Yeah, he has 13. Yeah, so, but
I mean, you look at that Brian Burns guy. There's no way he'd be catching up.
Unless he had a 7-sack game, which is possible if you play against. I mean, he's playing against the Giants are against. I can't remember who we said they were against, but yeah, I mean it's possible. So you never know.
Yeah,
some of these. I remember one game like the Titans. It was like a throwaway. They were up, but their team just kept sacking. They had like 5 straight sacks, so it's like possible. I think Jeffrey Simmons had like 3 of those at that one time a couple years ago.
It is possible.
It's possible.
Unlikely.
It's unlikely.
But it is possible on there.
You never know. Some of these offensive, they may just give up and just let you start getting sacks.
Yeah, they'll want to just throw the game and be like, well, we ain't going anywhere. We're not doing so hot, so might as well just do it.
Which isn't good if you did that, though, because you could be playing for a contract next season. But, yeah, that's my thoughts.
All right, so that's all of the news we have for going into the final season of the NFL, which is crazy that it's already almost here. And it's even crazier that it's almost 2026. Mm-hmm. So we'll see you... next year, obviously, on there, and we'll be probably talking, playoff pictures, Super Bowl predictions, that kind of stuff like that, because it's just right around the corner.
And then also, too, you got to remember, we're going to transition into talking about wrestling.
Yes.
So, wrestling's going to start picking up next year with Royal Rumble and things like that. And
we're going to do our predictions of who might be
what's going on.
The hidden people in Royal Rumble.
As well as who you think is going to be in... they're going to have a Hall of Fame.
They're going to do the Hall of Fame.
Leading up to April. And we will be at WrestleMania, so hopefully
we'll have
some good WrestleMania.
Hopefully we'll have more pictures and videos and stuff like that we can post like we did last time when we were at Monday Night Raw. We had pictures of Monday Night Raw that we were there to show up on there for the inside information and stuff. So, yeah, we'll see you on the next one. Good luck. Don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel here. Put down in the comments who you think's going to win MVP, who you think's going to make it to the playoffs that are in the bubble team, and who's going to go in those rankings of, possible the NFC can switch between the 5th place to the 1st place and vice versa. AFC's looking good there. That that might be solidified as the AFC team on there. Who's going to make it to the Super Bowl? Write all that down in the comments. Like and subscribe it so we can continue to talk about football for the last one of 2025. So we'll see you on the next one, guys.
As always, God bless you guys. Stay safe. See you guys next year.
Yep. See you next year.
Man, Myles Garrett, man. He's looking good.